Okay, let's get this done. Sunday, June 12th, had to start this video over, which I seldom do. But I received some music from my good brother Chris Cole in Chicago. His on-screen moniker for a while was John Coltrane 68, I think it was. He hasn't been making any videos in a while. Before I show you what he gave me, I was wearing this t-shirt. Who I forget gave this to me, my Genesis Lamb Lies Down on t-shirt. Was going to wear it for the video, but it was just freaking the camera out with this white balance, whatever you call it. Life is interesting. I'm just going to go until I'm done today, all right? I want to just thank you so deeply, Chris, for just, you know, I think you really understand a big kernel of what I'm about. I keep saying that people, we have impressions of each other, and we think we know each other as a result. And most of the time, the impressions are only half true. It seems that you understand a big part of what I'm about, because I recognize it's in you as well. And so thank you for honoring me. You sent me some very cool records, just a few, but you understand that people are giving me stuff and I accept the gifts, but I want the best. I don't want junk. I want the super collectible records. I want the rare stuff, I mean, I happen to have an interest in an expensive hobby, apparently. But just because I can't afford it doesn't mean that I can't want it. I want the best, and I happen to know about a lot of the best. So thank you for sending me something along those lines. I'm about to show it, okay? Thank you for, just thank you. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate being understood in that way. Because I don't want to be unkind, but read between the lines, okay? One of the albums that you sent me is by an artist who is a national treasure in his country. To me, he is one of the finest singers and songwriters in the world, Milton Nascimento. The album is Sentinella, came out in 1980. Thank you, Chris. I did not have this particular one. I've only gotten through side one of it. I've been real busy and just all kinds of stuff going on. I don't speak Portuguese, and I don't know that I need to. The mere sound of his voice is so full of love. It's just a really warm, inviting voice, in a way that he sings. Almost anything he sings comes across as inviting and welcoming and full of love. And he also writes some just beautiful compositions. Beautiful. Really happy to add this to my Milton collection. I only have a few of his albums. The man has a bunch. I went ahead and grabbed what I could find in my collection of his. I also have Courage by Milton Nascimento. Here's one I need to study more. Missa dos Quilombos. This is some sort of production, I think. When I got this, I said to myself, I need to explore this and learn about this. I still haven't, but I will. U.S. album, this was my introduction to him when this came out in America, Milton. Here's a beautiful album, Encontro e Despedidas. Milton. Fantastic music. Milton's. If you don't know Milton Nascimento and what I said resonates with you, you're interested in beauty, a man with a voice that just resonates love and harmonious. Milton. Anima. Gorgeous album by Milton Nascimento, Anima. And here's one that I kind of forgot. Someone gave it to me. I need to play it. Yaorete, Milton Nascimento. Yeah, look at his eyes. You know what I'm saying? You know, the man, like anyone else, he's not perfect, but you can see in the eyes a lot of what's in there. A lot of goodness. Thank you so much, Chris. You also sent me an album by Riley Lee, Oriental Sunrise. Beautiful album. He's playing shakuhachi, and his partner is playing koto. I love this stuff. I must say, unfortunately, this album, even though it looks good, it plays rough, you know. But it's not a big deal because how many, you know, with all the music and all the stuff that I'm doing, how many times will I get to listen to this album again? I don't know. But I now have it in my collection, which I greatly appreciate. And I added to, I also have this album by Riley and Gabriel Lee, Satori. This is good stuff. Meditative, cleansing. This music is cleansing. Now, I like entertainment like anybody else. But, for example, Rob Zombie, the sort of effect that he would have on the atmosphere in this house compared to the effect that this energy has when it's released in the house, you get it. It's not a put down of Rob Zombie, but it's more like being conscious of what it is you're, you know, subjecting yourself to, what you're surrounding yourself with. Yeah, I can be in the mood for some Rob Zombie when I want to be. Matter of fact, made his album, the feature album on the CD Showcase page in Facebook, which I administered, which is why I used him. But the stuff that we do and surround ourselves with, it has a cause and effect. It's not just benign, you know. Like when they used to say, oh, TV violence, it doesn't have any effect. Are you fucking kidding me? Please. Of course it has an effect. Look at where we're at now. Okay, let's get to the other ones you gave me. This one is just ultra cool. Thank you so much. Now, I used to have this album. I guess I trashed it. I don't know. Ultimate Spinach. I have the other one, Beholden Sea. It's... I like to show the records when I can, but it's not sitting right here. It must be over there. So, Chris, I saw on Facebook where you had found a copy of this, you know, and asked me about it, and I think you ended up finding another copy, and so you sent this to me. This is some cool stuff. I think they were from Boston, and there was a slightly jagged edge to their music in that you could tell that the whole band was not that accomplished musically, but they had the psychedelic vision. Very psychedelic music. This is real psychedelia. Ultimate Spinach. Thank you, Chris. Okay, and I think it's one more. I think it, yeah, and this is the one that really touched me, that you sent it to me. Chris, you don't have to do it, but he always sends me at least one record out of his personal collection that he says, when I look at it, it feels like it belongs more in your collection. I'm blown away that you sent this to me, because, like I said, this is collectible, and this is what I want. I mean, it is. I want these collectible records, not just because they're collectible, but because they're good. This is really good. Eric Wolo, however you say his name, Traces. Synthetic Compositions. He's from Norway. Made in 1985. I put a clip of this on Instagram recently. This is wonderful. It does not sound like anyone else. No, it's not a Klaus Schultz Tangerine Dream ripoff. Not at all. This is a singular individual voice in electronics. This is the kind of stuff that I want. I just always want more, you know. Chris, this is the bomb. thank you so much. Thank you so much for understanding my aesthetic. I'm not a snob anymore. I just know what I like. Thank you so much. I'm going to go through here because I may have there might be another one and I'm not seeing it. But let me keep going and talk about more records that have come into my possession this week. Jesse Cundiff is a VC member who hasn't made a video in a while, but owns a record store in Omaha here called Vinyl Therapy. It was called Hip Stop, but I knew this was going to happen. He and his partner had a falling out, and so Jesse is running the shop on his own now. I stopped in and visited him for a while yesterday. He didn't have anything in the main section that I wanted, but he said, you know, look in the dollars. I just got him. Sure enough, there was a couple things, nothing super, but he just went ahead and gave them to me. They would have been worth $1 at least. But Stevie Wonder characters, one of Prince's primary influences. Speaking of Prince, who's still on my mind. It's just wrong that the man is dead. Something is really wrong about that picture. Prince is dead. Something is wrong about that. I had a watcher friend who I've never met make the comment that he thinks Prince was taken out. It wouldn't surprise me at all. You know, all that money that the record company that he felt enslaved to, now they can just have a windfall, right? Or did he actually get his stuff from them? I don't know. Somebody's. I'm glad I'm not a part of that. Money destroys goodwill. Greed, I should say, not money. The greed destroys goodwill. I'm glad I'm not a member of Prince's family. And he also got this in the dollar section, gave it to me. Phil Collins with Marilyn Martin, Separate Lives. Yeah, I still, when I can get it, for next to nothing, I will pick up Phil Collins records that I don't have for my Genesis collection. Genesis are forever one of my favorite bands. I have deep love and respect for their entire catalog. I dismiss the criticism when they went commercial. I just dismissed that. They deserved it, you know. And Phil Collins is just a great artist. The B-side of this is great. It's a extended remix of Only You and I Know. Good song. Happy to add this to my collection. I was downtown yesterday. Every year they have what they call the Summer Arts Festival downtown. It's blazing hot this weekend, but I went down because I always go. Years ago when it first started, it wasn't so family oriented to the point that the art was all bland. Now, not all the art is bland now, but it's super safe because of all the families, you know. But years ago, when it first started, I would buy art because there would be some interesting stuff. So now I just go down to walk around, eat something, say hi to people. And one person, there was sure enough one artist who had done these kind of collage things, and she had some amazing things of Prince and David Bowie. And of course, she was doing gangbusters business. But while I was down there, I went down to Homer's. I don't go to Homer's very often. And I thought to myself, if I see something, even though I'm not flush, if I see something, I'm going to get something, okay? So, very happily I saw, I'm going to remove this price tag here. Very happily I saw that one of the two items from Record Store Day that I really wanted, that I couldn't afford, they still had one in the store. And so I grabbed it. Namely, the picture disc of David Bowie's The Man Who Sold the World. I have 2 copies of this album already to listen to, but I wanted the picture disc. And here it is. Sorry about the light. I tried to get it balanced. Sometimes it gets good, sometimes not. For a picture disc, this plays good. People complain about the quality. Well, of course, there's the paper underneath it, so you're going to hear it. This plays pretty damn good, actually. So happy to have a copy of this. Okay, the next one was marked down. Amandul 2 is a well-known German psychedelic rock band that started in the 60s as a commune. I'm not going to use the term krautrock because it is insulting to some people, even though the press took it and ran with it. But they are back together, and 2 years ago they made a brand new album. So I picked it up, Amandul 2 Delirium. And this is all original members. The one name I don't recognize is Jan Collard. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of the 6 people in this album are original members of Amandul. Now, here's how I want to give you my review. The first thing I want to say is it is ridiculous, in my opinion, for fans or people who like the work of Amandul to immediately put this on and reference it or compare it to their old stuff. I think that's ridiculous, in my opinion, okay? That was eons ago, that music that they made, okay? This is what I want to report about. I love this, okay? And what I hear going on here is that these are members who are like me, up in their years, done with the music industry, so they don't have to deal with the machine that they dealt with as they kept moving on, where they would have to try things to sell records and maybe be more commercial like this, where it would, change the course of what they were doing. This album sounds like they just didn't go back to, but you can say, yes, they went back to basics, but really what they said, what I hear them is that, let's do what we do. And this is extremely trippy. This is and ragged and kind of anarchic. It's Amandul for now, for the 21st century. This is what they do now. Renate Knaup, the singer, whose voice was never a good voice, very edgy, like a ice pick, to great effect. Renate's voice and energy is used on is on this album. It's a highlight of this album. I'm enthusing about this album because it's Amandul 2 being Amandul 2, not what a record company wants it to be. And so this is what I say. People who really like their music and can listen without prejudice, without doing that idiotic thing of trying to compare it to their halcyon days, you're going to love this. I love this. This is really good. I know I have at least one. Well, the other new vinyl in my collection is, there's a local bar called the Brothers Lounge that has quite a history. The bar itself has been opened and called the Brothers for 50 years now. Some friends of mine have owned the bar for like 13 or 14 years. But they're punkers, and so came to their attention that this year would be the 50th anniversary of their bar, which opened on June 6th. So they decided they would have a 666 party, June 6, 2016. All that stuff that's associated with punk and stuff, which I disregard. But anyway, they're friends, and so I went down for a while, and they were going to have some music. And I didn't stick around long enough to see it, but Plaque Blake is a local artist, very upfront, leather gay artist, electronic, kind of like the power electronics, kind of grinding and in your face. So I went ahead and I didn't even know he had this out, so I grabbed it. Yeah, he's in your face with what he's doing, which I'm not into this. Chances are, if there were like certain types of parties going on with a lot of these folks there, I wouldn't want to be there, okay? But I admire his willingness to just be who he is. Put it in your face. And it's pretty good, you know. Grinding power electronics. It's not commercial. And that I like. It is a throwback to kind of the industrial Cabaret Voltaire sound. So I grabbed this last night from, I forget the guy's actual name. I always just call him Plaque. So that's a new one to the collection. Any records down here that I was playing? Yes. So recently, if you follow me on Facebook, you see where my sister recently just decided, well, she won a contest, so she won some money. And she makes her feel good to give things. So she gave a bunch of stuff, bought a bunch of stuff for her kids. And then she bought me a flat screen TV and audio station, you know. My living room is transformed. I, myself, had just an old regular TV and was resigned to and fine with the fact that I thought, well, I will never own a flat screen TV. It's just something that I don't watch TV, so I would, even if I had the money, I don't think I would have bought one, but she bought it for me. Anyway, it's transformed my living room. I may, you know, you can see pictures on Facebook. I might do a video out there or something just to show you. This is how I like to do videos because it's just convenient. This is where I sit in my music room. But it was like moving into the house brand new. I've been here for 20 plus years. I forget how long I've been here. It's been longer than that. Probably going on 30 years. So the first record that I played on the stereo out there, I wanted it to be significant. I wanted it to be like, okay, we're gonna break in the new room. So I played Sgt. Pepper's by the Beatles, Lonely Hearts Club Band. Significant because this album, my sister and I were big Beatles fans. I was too young to have money, so when this came out, my older sister bought a copy. The day it was released in America, brought it home, and I'll never forget our reaction because it scared us. It was so different. Our first reaction was mostly like, what is going on here? Fascinating, wonderful, but it was really strange and it was frightening, you know, because it was like we had to get oriented. So I played this on the stereo in the new setup, and it just really felt really special. A couple other records I played out there on the just because. Jeff Beck, the Jeff Beck Group, Beckola, with Rod Stewart on vocals. I love this. Love this album. You know, and they do a lot of old stuff like Jailhouse Rock and stuff, you know. But Hangman's Knee and Rice Pudding on here are the tracks that I love. And Jeff Beck is just one of the greatest guitar players, in my opinion. Also played Masks by Brand X. Underrated. This is some of this great jazz rock. Phil Collins, badass on the drums. Is he on this one? No, it's Chuck Berge. So Phil is not on this album. It's Chuck Berge. See, but Phil Collins laid it down what needed to happen. So this is excellent. Excellent. I played Bauhaus out there. Quite a contrast to the other records, right? Fantastic album. Do you know anybody else that sounds like Bauhaus? This is killer. Killer. And I played Lord Buckley. A most immaculately hip aristocrat. Spoken word artist who way back, I guess in the 50s, white guy who had picked up on the jazz vernacular, I think is how you put it, the way that jazz musicians and people of different nationalities would talk to each other, that slang. He picked up on it really well and kind of made a shtick out of it. This album is really cool. they're like you could call them comedy bits, but they're almost like a social commentary with this really odd character. Fantastic on Frank Zappa's Straight label. Okay, is that where it's at? We're at 25 minutes, so I guess that's going to be about enough. You know, shout out to Jeff Klukowski. If you watch this, Jeff, I know you've been asking me to give you a call. Hopefully I'll call you before I die. I'm not a caller. You know, I just think I want to tell you that. People who know me know that and are just used to it. I've never been a person who just, oh, I'll just call so-and-so. Very rarely do I do that, you know. It's just the way I am, you know. But he had made a comment about this mass shooting, I think in Orlando last night. Some nightclub, some guy just decides to start shooting. I don't know what's going on. And then the other thing that happened this weekend, the young female singer who was on some sort of talent show, and then she got killed in concert, and then the guy killed himself. Again, crazy shit like this happens all the time. Forever has always happened. But I must continue to say that I see a cumulative effect going on in the world, in our communities, that's devastating. And rather than as a people we're addressing it, it's constantly being trotted out for our entertainment through corporate media. You know, the media is owned, and so they manipulate what we see and hear. And fear is profitable. Chaos is profitable. And so I'm not imagining it. I see where this is being shoved down our throats, as opposed to, I'll just say, ideally, if I could get in a position of making those decisions about what goes on the air and what doesn't, I'd be turning this son of a bitch around real quick and trying to send out, first off, I'd give real news. I mean, there's a lot going on in the world besides the negative things and the politics that is rammed down our throats. We don't get a chance to get a reprieve if we're locked into mainstream media like large numbers of people are. We don't get a reprieve, and it shapes our world in our mental world. I'd be breaking that stuff down, you know, sending out a message of, okay, it's like time for a shift, you know, it's like it's wake up call, something, you know what I mean? Something that's not happening. All that I see is the game continues. Small group of people are profiting from misery and making sure that that's what we get. So, like I say, thank goodness for music and art. Thank goodness that these little trinkets and toys can bring a little joy and satisfaction to each day. I don't know. It's always on my mind to say, okay? Just to comment. All right, that's enough. It's a half hour. I'll talk to you.